Hey, what's up? Welcome to Bread Brothers. We're here again. We're with my favorite person, Sammy. Sammy and I, we're going to talk about BTC. Are we bullish or are we bearish? Let's get in there, Sammy. Let's talk about it. Me personally, I'm still bullish, man. I'm still bullish, and I'll give you the reasons why I'm bullish.
Tell me
I want to hear what you think.
Midterm, I'm still bullish. We haven't put in that lower low, which I'll show you on the graph. Fundamentally, every day Bitcoin is stronger. The whales are still accumulating. The miners aren't selling. The distribution of the miners are getting more and more spread out, meaning that they're not focused. They're not all in China. The adoption is growing. The money printing in the US is going on, but the only bearish sentiment for me is the US stock market is due for a godly correction, and the Fed might stop printing money soon, or tapering, whatever they call it. These are the bearish sentiments, but for now I'll rather go by the charts. For now we look all right. I want to hear from you. You said you're an ultimate bull, so tell me why.
So I come from a fundamental perspective, and the reason why I'm saying this is when I look at the charts, when I look at the previous bull runs that are happening, you can see the bull run, they're longer, they're getting longer and longer, and the percentage returns have been smaller and smaller. But put that all aside, right? This is just me kind of brain dumping at the moment. The reason why I'm still bullish is when I did the TA and actually had a look at it, I was roughly kind of gauging between 130 to about 160, around that ballpark, where, roughly. But as you know, I'm a very conservative person already. So if the target is, let's just say 180, I'll kind of pull it back to 150 or 140. That's just the way I work. I like to play safe. And we're not there yet. We're definitely not there yet. And I'll love to see when you draw the TA for it. There's a lot of people entering the market, but this is where my main focus that I'm going to get to, Sammy, is there's all these businesses coming in, all these brands that are coming into this space. I think it's just too soon, man. Like, everyone is talking about it, and we haven't seen what we saw previously in the last bull run, where everything just popped off, and then everything just dumped. And
doesn't mean we have to see that, though. It doesn't mean history has to repeat itself. I mean, on-chain analysis, we haven't seen strong on-chain analysis to suggest that the top is in. We haven't seen whales selling into the strength, but you're right in those aspects. We just need to take it level by level, week by week, 100%. Month by month. But ultimately, there is nothing that you can't change my mind that Bitcoin follows the traditional markets, and that is due for a godly correction. And I could show you that after we do Bitcoin.
Awesome.
If the traditional market sink, crypto is going to sink with it for the initial reaction. I say 100%. Initial reaction because we don't know what happens after that.
And that's where it gets really fascinating. And this is when, when people ask me, like with my friends and people that I'm just talking about cryptocurrency, they say to me, is it too late to enter the market? Is it safe for me to enter? Should I pull out my money and all that? You know what? It's a big psychological game, and everyone's risk tolerance is different. Some people who are entering the market now would definitely freak out because we just had a 40% or 50% reduction. And imagine if you put, let's just say $100,000 in, you just went down 50,000 when you just heard all your friends are making money, and then all of a sudden it just plummeted. But the reality is this, Sammy, right? We've had one of these before. We had one earlier this year where it just dropped hard. Like, it's massive pullback happened. And it's the people who stayed strong and believe in long-term perspective, right? Sammy, this is long-term perspective. Because you're right, in the short term, we may not recover and we may go down, but the long-term aspect of it, I still believe that we are going on an uptrend.
That's something you got to answer for yourself. Can you hold on for 2-3 years of max pain? If you can, easier said than done. But if you're prepared to, then okay.
That's, it's interesting we're talking about this, and I'm sure a lot of our audience or people who are watching this are kind of saying that, what do I do? Do I pull out my money? Should I do it now, or should I wait a bit more? You know what? It's not financial advice, guys. This is just Sammy and I just kind of sharing our thoughts and ideas. So take it with a grain of salt, and we'll show why we think whether we're bullish or bearish. Me personally, I'm waiting for the higher high to come in. If I see a higher low, then me personally, I'll start questioning it. And the levels that I'm kind of waiting for is like around the 44,000, around the $30,000. If we start dipping more and more down, I think it's probably, Sammy, for you, let's just say, or for myself, it's probably wise to start taking out a bit of money off the table just to secure your profits, your initial investment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because I think if you secure your initial investment, your risk tolerance would be a bit higher. Would you say, Sammy?
Yeah, that's right. You won't be affected by it, psychological. Definitely when that fear and greed index is starting to creep up in the greed phase, that's when you want to start getting cash on hand. You want to buy the fear, sell the greed. Be greedy when the market's fearful and be fearful when the market's greedy. Go the opposite, it helps. You need to have a strategy. If you have to ask somebody else what you should do with your own money, I'm sorry, you're not going to make it. You have to have your own strategy. And that could be as simple as, hey, you don't have to be a chart technician like me. That can be as simple as dollar cost averaging every month in something that you truly believe in. You do your own fundamental analysis. FA is not rocket science. Everybody should be able to do it. If you haven't done it and you have to ask somebody else what you should be doing, you're not going to make it, hands down. You're going to make money. You're basically flying blind. Have a strategy, whether it's dollar cost averaging, whether it's entering into the fear, taking profits upon the greed, whether it's just simple look out for that higher high, higher low. That's it.
100%.
Simple as that.
100%. Let's have a look at the TA. Let's deep dive, and we'll probably discuss this further now, Sammy. Show us the charts.
All right, so let's bring up first one is Bitcoin. Can you see it?
Yes, I can see it.
All right, first what I've got is Bitcoin on the daily. We've got the red 50-day moving average and the yellow 200-day moving average. So you can see in this dump, if I pull the retracements from the previous swing low in September, if we pull that up there, from there all the way to the top to the recent swing high that we had, which the warning shots were there. You can see that high, higher high, RSI, low, lower high, bearish divergence. What happens? The whole market shut itself. So that was your warning shot, but back on track. The retracement, pretty deep retrace. We went straight into, and we found support so far in the reload zone of that Fibonacci retracement area. So at the moment, I am seeing Bitcoin in this, pretty much in this pattern, which we've got resistance up here and we've got support down here that we're bouncing off. This doesn't mean that the bottom's in, but first I want to see Bitcoin break this resistance and then Bitcoin break this level around here at 60K and hold it. If it doesn't, what you're going to see is Bitcoin is going to range and it's going to bounce between the 50-day and the 200-day. And if it falls below the 200-day, you've lost the reload zone and you've lost the 200-day. And what's going to happen is a bearish death cross where the 50 crosses the 200. So just be mindful of it. But there is no coincidence that we just magically fell in this pocket. There is so much confluence in this chart. For starters, you've got the reload zone. Secondly, you've got the 200-day moving average that came in as support. Third, you've got this trend line that I've drawn as support right along here. So you've got the touch there. So previous resistance is now getting back tested as support. Okay, so I'm expecting this trend line to hold, but we got to see what happens from here. So I don't think we are, anyway bearish, because this was our previous local low. As long as we stay above this level, right?
Which is that $40,000 that I was talking about.
Yeah, we should be fine. If we close below that 40,000, then your lower low is potentially in, and you need to be thinking about what you want to do with that potential lower high that might come in. Remember, when this low came in here first, you had a bullish golden cross that came in when the 50 crosses the 200. That helped Bitcoin rally hard. This time we don't have a golden cross upon us. In fact, we have to fight to prevent a death cross, pretty much.
So I'm going to stop you there for a second, Sammy. And this is where it gets that I find it. So if you look at the previous dump, which happened between the May and June, so slightly over, if you look at you can see that the similar pattern is forming where there's a bit of a dump happening. See how he dumped like literally, and came to where you are now. And then this is what I'm expecting, right? This is why I'm bullish a bit, and I'm expecting the altcoin season to happen. Is I'm hoping that history repeats itself, and then we see a consolidation as it did there, and then a slight more dump, and then a massive pump again. But whether that will happen on history, as you said, does history repeat itself? No. But I just wanted to kind of highlight that this can play out, that history can repeat itself.
Yeah, it's also fine. I mean, they're all hopes, but
definitely,
I'm just being realistic. It's hoping is one thing. Seeing the charts, if this happens, do that. That's what we got to look at.
You have to be reactive. You're absolutely right about that. Like I've always said, day dot, from when I speak to my friends and family, you have to be reactive to this market. You can't just, I know that I'm talking about hopium at the moment, and hopium is always great, but at the end of the day, I am a reactive person. So if the reverse happens and the pattern doesn't play out, you need to look at the downside, the bearish sentiment.
Yeah. So one thing I want to bring to your attention is we've got this final trend line of support. Now, I know when people draw trend lines and it breaks, people will draw the next trend line like this and be like, oh, we still got support here. Oh, we still got support till it's like this. It's like, no. This to me is pretty much your final trend line of support, all right? So we had support here. We touched it there, support bounced. We tested it there, bounced, and we came back, got close to it, but now we're here. And I've also got the 50-week moving average in red, which I'll explain. It's important. So right now, for me, Bitcoin is make or break right now. So Bitcoin has 50-week moving average as support, and this long trend line, which has been going on. When did it start? It started in September 20, so about 13, 14 months ago. We're in this area of testing this support. Now, this support will break eventually. We just need to know, is this the time for it? So if we get a weekly close below the red line, the 50-week moving average, and we start hitting our head up against it, that's it. It's time to call it a day.
Pack up your bags, go home, hey?
Pack up your bags, start scaling out money. Well, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be very subjective based on what the weekly chart is telling us. Does that make sense?
No, 100% it does, because it's, as you said earlier, Sammy, you need to know where to draw the line and basically say to yourself, you know what, I don't want to risk it. Whether you're in profits or whether you're in losses, you know, let's say if you're a person who started at the beginning, you know, last year, December, you came in, you should have made a lot of money. And for you to lock in those profits, it's probably better for you to start selling and just say, you know what, I'm happy with my profits. I'm not going to let this go down. Start taking it off the table. Maybe leave some in there if you want to, just so psychologically, you know, you feel, you know, what happens if it reverses. But as Sammy said, I'll probably be taking a lot of my profits because I'm not going to leave it on the table. And I'm going to say the opposite case. Let's say you just enter the market and you've lost a lot of money, or you're starting to lose money, you know, your money's gone down 2, 5, 8. It's probably better for you to kind of just say, you know what, okay, I lost $8,000, but I can keep the rest of my $92,000 if you invested $100,000, for instance. What do you reckon, Sam?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Just have a trading plan, whether you're an investor or trader, whatever. If you're buying, you need to have a plan. They're all good ones we've discussed.
100%. Sammy, before we close up for this episode, I want to know, let's say if we went bullish, where are we going? Like, where are we going with the bullish sentiment? What is our next target?
Yeah, I want to answer that as well. Thanks for reminding me. Just quickly, I want to also point this out with Bitcoin. See in this RSI, this momentum over here, this momentum indicator, the relative strength indicator, you can see it just goes up and down, up and down. That's all it does. But at the moment, it's been consolidating in this channel. So it's a good indicator. It started off with the bearish divergence that confirmed the downtrend pretty much. So what I'm trying to say is, even though we get a breakout of this resistance level, wait. Ultimately, I'm still looking for that break and hold above 60K. That might not happen until this RSI actually breaks this channel. Do you know what I mean? And this channel goes all the way till mid-Jan next year.
Wow.
So whatever happens, I'm going to just take it with a grain of salt, because this RSI is going to be in this channel. Nothing's changed for the momentum. I'm going to pay more attention once this RSI actually comes out of this channel. And I said the same thing back in this period. I might just keep that like that. Back in this period, this was a dump. Look at this. This was from January all the way down. We had the mega dump in May. And again, in May, nothing happened since what happened in July. We rallied. This trend line for the RSI was in play since May, for the almost first half of the year. So from January to July, this trend line was holding back the RSI until it finally cracked in July, which I can show you what happened. When it finally cracked in July, look at it. It started its rally. So pay attention when you see these consolidations on the RSI. You must pay attention. I don't care whatever happens up here. I don't care. I'll ignore it unless we get the close and hold above the 60K. I'll ignore it until I see a break of this structure and see what happens. What I'm expecting for RSI is to start heading higher. If RSI just dwindles down here, it's not going to make it. So let's go back to answer your question about how high Bitcoin can go. Still what we're looking at on our projections.
While you're doing that, see, it's interesting how you said about the RSI, that if it channels and that's what I mean. Maybe I didn't say it from a technical perspective, but if history repeats itself, you just saw that the consolidation that he had all the way from July, do you know what I mean? That period that you showed. I'm hoping that consolidation happens, and then we get an alt season. If Bitcoin holds, if it pumps and holds in that 60,000 or 50,000 region, alt season will be on.
Yeah. So I want to draw a fib extension. So from the peak there down to the bear market low, which is there. So I'll just draw it here on the charts. Here we go. So from the 2017 bull market high to the bear market low, you can see exactly Bitcoin came at the 1.618 right there, the Fibonacci area. So it found resistance. It's no coincidence. Fibonacci works. It's no coincidence. It found resistance, came down, found support at the 1.272, came back up to retest it, broke it, didn't hold it, came back under, right? So what I'm saying is, when we're looking at predictions, we need to look at where this can go to. So the 1.618 is there. We've got some more levels that I can throw up, and it's just about taking it level by level.
Let's pull this apart. Let's pull this apart, and let's be realistic, right? What we're thinking.
Yeah. So these are some levels that you're looking at, all right? From the 618, you got the 2, which is 125,000. You got the 2.131, 160. You got the 272, 208, and the 2414, 270, and then it goes on. So these are the levels. I no doubt that Bitcoin will get to these levels, but for now, it's a game of Fibonacci. It's going to lose support, goes back down, find support somewhere else. It's always going to be in between these Fibonacci levels. Yeah, so we can see with Bitcoin, it's always a game of Fibonacci. If it doesn't hold, if this level breaks this yellow trend line that I drew at the beginning when I started talking about Bitcoin's update, look for support to come in at the next level, which is a 272 at 32,000. If that doesn't hold, look at support to come in at the 131, which is 25, and then you've got 19 and so on. So you got to take it level by level with Fibonacci numbers.
And that's thank you for showing that. And that's where, as I said, there's certain levels that you guys can use for support and resistance and so. But as I said from the beginning, I'm a very conservative person, so I tend to move up my, even though the support's showing me that it's exactly on the graph where it's supposed to be, I usually move up a bit or a bit lower, just because, if everyone's thinking along the same, this is where my support is and this is where my resistance is, people got to pull the trigger.
So what that's called is you're trying to front run the market, and it's good to do that, especially with round numbers. So Bitcoin $100,000 and you want to take profits, you wouldn't be selling at 100K, you'll be selling at 98,942, like a random number close to that. Like, what's 1% difference, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's going to have their orders set at the psychological round numbers. The maths do that. I don't know why. It's straightforward to just say go a little bit lower, and that's the same for areas of support and resistance, whether it's Fibonacci or horizontal areas of support and resistance. Buy and sell, not exactly on the line, but a little bit below and above, depending if it's support or resistance.
Definitely. Well, that's it. I think. What did we give a price target, Sammy? What we're expecting for BTC?
I'm just going week by week. Let's
Week.
say that yellow trend line holds and we
Yeah.
don't see a lower low. I want to see it hold above the 1.618 fib, which is 62K. Gotta get above it and hold it, not just put our heads above it and come back down. If that happens, it's not a healthy market. If it holds it, then the next price level I'm looking at is the fib 2 level, which is 125,000.
$125,000. There you go, guys. And that's what I was saying roughly a bit earlier, you know, around the 140, 130-ish, around that area. So I hope this helps, guys. I hope this kind of gives you a bit of a guidance in regards to what to do in situations like this. I understand. I really do understand that it is quite stressful, you know, to lose a lot of your money or, you know, your profits. It can be quite stressful. But as Sammy said, have an action plan, guys. Stick to your action plan, follow the TA, and then you'll do all right. You actually do fine. If you have any more questions in regards to this topic, comment below. Give us a like if you did find this useful, because at the end of the day, we're here to help you guys. I enjoy coming on talking about this. I can talk about this all day long, but this is just a video that, and not financial advice again, guys. This is just Sammy and I just chatting about what's happening, what our thoughts are. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching.
Take a break from it all, and we'll be here, guys. Give this page a like and subscribe. We'll be here. 100%. I'll be doing a recap of what happens in the charts for the next week. You don't need to look at it every day. We'll just take it week by week. Those daily candles don't really matter in the long end. Let's take those weekly charts, and I'll bring that up next week. And we got you. We got you, man. We got you. Yeah. Peace out. See you guys.